On this night and in this hour, I call upon a sacred power. Bring life to everything in this space. It shall walk, it shall talk.
You going anywhere for the Christmas break?
Me and my friends are going to my dad's cabin.
Let's get as a gate.
I need to be really honest with you guys. When I was 7, right in this cabin, my puppet killed my stepmom.
Well, that totally never happened.
Right?
Is this him? This is the killer puppet.
Everybody, I would like you to meet Jamie's little buddy.
Wait.
Pretty cute, but pretty ugly too.
Okay, you guys just leave Simon alone.
You have given this puppet way too much power.
The puppet's alive, man. What if it looked at me?
I've had enough of this puppet. You're going to the fire.
Simon's gone.
We just torched him.
Hi, Jamie.
He's back.
Man, that's what they do. They always come back.
Fire with me.
He's alive. And he can walk. He can talk. And he's pretty friggin' strong.
Here's Johnny.
Joining me is accomplished Canadian film and TV actor Aleks Paunovic, and he's here today to talk about his latest role in the award-winning horror comedy feature film Puppet Killer, and also to share some more exciting news. And he'll be talking about how he maintains a healthy lifestyle. Welcome, Alek.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk to you. This is awesome.
Yeah, well, firstly, congratulations on your latest role. I saw on the Twitter feed, Hawkeye.
Yes, Hawkeye for Marvel and Disney Plus. Yeah, coming out November 24th.
That's wonderful. But I wanted to talk to you about the horror comedy feature film Puppet Killer. What attracted you to the role?
I think, well, the biggest thing that attracted me to the role is when Lisa Ovies asked me to play the lead Jamie, was the people that were involved. That was the coolest thing, because everyone a part of the film were all friends before the film. So that was a huge thing, and it was done over Christmas, and if we're spending our Christmas holidays shooting an indie film, it better be with people that we love, and that's exactly what happened. And then the other big thing was, I usually play, tough brooding roles and kind of like stature roles. And so when she approached me to play the lead in a horror film, I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. I'm going to be playing like a Jason or somebody. And then I was like, no, you'll be playing a 17-year-old in high school. I'm like, what? And I absolutely fell in love with the challenge of pulling that off earnestly and authentically. And the challenge of that was something that I was really excited about.
Well, you pulled it off so well. I mean, it was, fantastic. And it helps when the teams like James Clayton, is that correct? Part of the team?
Yeah.
And you also produced it too, right? Co-produced?
Yeah, I produced it also, yes.
That's great. But do you think, coming from athletic background, that we talk about longevity, like you could play the high school 17-year-old?
Well, I don't know if it's an athletic background. It's just the idea of we were all 17 at one point, and yes. it's just pulling those kind of memories of how absolutely naive we were back then, and you grow up in a believability society where you want to believe everything and everything good, and so there you don't have the history of in the years. As the years go on, you get a little bit more callous, you get a little bit more weary of things. You've experienced a lot of life, and a 17-year-old has nothing but exuberance and youth, and just moving forward in that aspect of it. So I love the idea of playing an innocent, earnest kid that is just trying to get through and trying to get through his traumas the best way that he can.
Yes. And like, how did you prepare for the role?
I just made sure that it was really tough in the way, like Lisa Ovies was great, because we would, after some scenes we would shoot, and if I got really involved in it, my facial expressions would be quite adult, and we wanted to keep like the eyebrows up and keep the earnestness of it, and no real kind of thought process in this kind of man kind of figure. So everything was very eyebrows up and open-eyed and just kind of moving forward in that way. And the only way I could really accomplish that truthfully was as if I was hearing everything for the first time without any bad intentions, and just moving forward and just trying to believe people and go forward and be right and be believed. So there was that type of thing of just being as open and earnest as possible.
Yes. I mean, I've seen the film, and there's like a stunt. I would say you go through the door, at the end, trying to get through, but instead of, it was really fun. So
Yeah.
was there a favorite part that you enjoyed?
Honestly, the best parts were just being able in the ensemble work with everyone and jam with everyone and get creative with everyone, because that's the thing about indie films is, it's a team mentality, and everybody makes the film what it is, and I love the idea of everyone jamming and on set and throwing out little ideas here and there and being with your friends. I think that was the biggest part that I'll always remember is, again, we spent the Christmas holidays together, and it was really fun. Like one of my best memories is driving with Lee Medjub to work, because I think it was like a 45-minute drive, and we would just get in the car and listen to music and talk, and we just had an amazing time. He's an amazing dude, and I got to know everybody, even though we knew everybody pretty well. I got to know them even better while we spent that time together, and I think that's something that I'll cherish.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the puppet is Simon. It's and how much fun was it working with the puppet Simon?
It was hilarious because it was so whack. It was just like out there. But again, like for me personally, to tell the story that I wanted to tell, Simon wasn't a puppet to me. Like I couldn't look at him as a puppet. I had to look at him as a human with energy that affected me when I was a kid. Once I started getting into the playful aspect of it, I lost that connection. So I really needed to connect to him as if he was real to me, which I did. But as everything went down and as everything kind of came together in the film, it was something that was absolutely hilarious to be a part of.
Yes, and it was filmed. Where was it filmed?
It was filmed in BC, in
BC.
British Columbia.
And like, how long did it take to do the film? Like,
I think it was something like 16 days. I'm not sure, something like that. And then I think we had a few reshoots, but it was basically 16 days of literally. I mean, again, it was an indie with an extremely low budget, and it was everybody lending their time and their talents, from the actors to the producers to crafty to gaffers. Like everybody gave up their Christmas a little bit and just gave us everything for the film. And I'm so glad that it's finally coming out in this way where people can kind of reap the rewards of the work that we did.
Yes. And Alex, what do you want people to take away from the film?
Honestly, just a blast. I mean, it's an homage to all the horror films out there. And that's, again, another thing that really made me laugh out loud with the script was all the tip of the caps to the horror films. And the idea of people coming away from it having moments where like, oh my God, like these little surprise moments and jump scares, and they just experienced something for an hour and a half that took them out of reality and just had a really good time.
Yes, and I mentioned like you come from athletic background in boxing, right? You were a champion boxer. I mean, do you still box? Like, how do you maintain a healthy lifestyle? How do you keep fit? Because you look fit.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, absolutely. Boxing is, it's been there since I was born. I had 3 generations of boxers in my family, and it was something that I really have a parallel with boxing and the training of boxing, the actual competing of boxing, a parallel with acting and with life in general, where you get knocked down, you got to get back up again. And, the nervousness of before a fight, and how do you do that? You need to relax. The nervousness of before a big take, you have to relax. So it's very much parallel with what I'm doing. And the only way I would have known that is if I boxed. So I'm really thankful that my father kind of helped me learn the discipline of boxing. But yeah, it's something that I still do, and I'm doing later on today.
Wow, that's wonderful. And it's like in being a competitive athlete that you are, it teaches discipline, and it's transferable to other skill, to your other areas of life, because you were a musician, right? And then you went to acting, and then your first role was 1994 in Heads. Is that correct? Or
yeah, it was a film called Heads with the late great Ed Asner and Jennifer Tilly, John Cryer. It was like a black comedy, and I was just playing in a band at the time when the casting director asked if I wanted to audition for this film, and I said yes. I love saying yes to stuff that scares me, and that definitely did. And my life at that time was just about music and original music and recording and getting signed. So going to an audition, there was nothing to it for me. I had no stakes in it. And Paul Shapiro was the director, who I later ended up years later working on Arctic Air with, which was really cool to see him again. But that was a one-off for a while. I did that and I enjoyed it, and I got the bug a bit, but I really didn't get into acting until years later again, where I decided to do some courses and really study all over the world, basically. And just really wanted to be a part of it.
Because you're in Zero Contact. Now that's a pandemic film, and congratulations on that too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we shot it in the beginning of the pandemic, and it was we like to say this film was done without a handshake, because it was all done on Zoom, FaceTime, GoPros, a drone. And Rick Dugdale, who directed and produced it, he was the brainchild of it, of making it something that kept us creative during the pandemic. And we didn't know where it was going to go or how it was going to go. It was just people that got together from all over the world. That's the cool thing about Zero Contact, even though this was done without a handshake. And we could have been next door to each other, but this was done in like 8 different countries, in Japan and in Belgrade. Like, it was all over the place. That Rick Dugdale had to shoot my stuff, be on the Zoom with me, and then go to mute while I recorded. And then once we finished all our stuff, he had to then get on a Zoom with the actor in Japan. So he was going, that whole team were going around the clock trying to just stay creative and do something pretty cool that hasn't been done before. And then obviously getting Anthony Hopkins involved in the film, and now it being the world's very first NFT, which is a huge accomplishment, especially for Rick Dugdale, who kind of spearheaded this whole thing. It's a very exciting time for the film Zero Contact.
Well, congratulations on that too. So what is next for you?
There's a few things there's some really cool big things coming up that I can't really talk about, but I just love being involved in indies and creating and having friends stay creative and being involved in that aspect of it. And obviously, still working and just kind of plugging away and just enjoying my life.
That's wonderful. And what drives you, Aleks?
What drives me? I just love to create and be around great people. That's one of my best, that I love. There's nothing like, you're always going to have trials and tribulations in film. There's always going to be something, that the generator going down, or or you know, the light's not working or the camera. There's always something that's going to be happening, and those kind of things cost money if you keep on going further. But what I love is the troubleshooting with a great team and a confident, energetic, and compassionate team, not somebody that, you know, is belittling people a part of the team, regardless of what job they are. And I've been very fortunate to be around some great mentors. Simon Barry is one of them, and watching him work in Continuum and watching his work in Continuum of how he handles the set, and then how everyone is so excited for him to even come to set, and he's the boss, as opposed to getting all freaked out when a boss comes because you know you may get reprimanded in some way or you may get pressure. And I think that energy allows for more creativity and more openness, that makes the project that product even better than what it originally would have been if it wasn't such a loving atmosphere. So being a part of that, and you know, especially with producing Puppet Killer and a few other things that I've done, and just knowing that you're going to have those trials and tribulations, but it's how you handle them and it's how you handle people that'll make them keep on coming back for more and make some great work. Like, I'm just really grateful that I get to work with some amazing people.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And can you share some boxing tips?
Boxing tips in what way?
Yeah, if anyone wanted to, you know, do some cross training, you know, maybe the audience is, you know, listening, they're runners, or they just want to keep fit, because boxing is I have never boxed, but it's a high energy.
It's a phenomenal sport. I think the best thing about boxing is that you're always screwing up, and it's all about repetition. So you can throw the perfect jab 101 times, but then if I ask you to move to the left while you throw the jab, it's like you're going back to day one. So you got to go back to day one, and just the repetition. It's all about repetition and being easy on yourself and knowing that it's about the repetition, because you don't go into a sparring match in boxing or a boxing match and think that you've got your craft down so well that you won't get hit. You will get hit. That's going to happen. You're going to get hit. It's how do you handle those hits? It's how do you flow? And I just think, you know, boxing is such a great energy workout to just push your energy forward and expel all this energy, and also doing it in a productive way, because you're going to have the feelings and the butterflies. And that's why I still love sparring. Like, going to a spar, you get the butterflies, and then you go in there and you throw punches with a dude, and then you hug each other after, and you feel great about it. I mean, that's just me personally. I love the aspect of combat, and it's the idea of how you handle it. If you go in there wanting to be perfect, and you're going to have a tough time. If you go in there wanting to learn and fail and learn and fail and learn and fail, then you're going to get a lot out of it.
Great. And Aleks, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about Puppet Killer, and I'm really excited for the film to come out and for the people to see it.
Yes, it's September 21st, so stay tuned, everyone. And thank you very much for being a guest on the show. I'd like you to come back, Aleks. And
I would love it.
Best of luck in everything that you do.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Bye for now.